Howdy, 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 my name is Anashi Sasuke, and welcome back to Let's Read Lackadaisy. I went back a few pages because I needed context on what was happening on the page I was actually on. So, this is where I stopped at, because this is before what was happening. So, and as I said in my update video, I realized that I probably should have been voicing Freckles like he was a grown man, but that's not how I was viewing him, so that's not what I did, and I guess I'm not going to start here, so... What did you say to Miss Pepper? She said, "Are you two not on a first-name basis after mashing your lips together like that?" Ivy. Ivy said you told her things about the past. I did? Did I dream that? No trace of the beflowered malefactors from the crossroads. I'll be very disappointed if I dreamed them. Perhaps they've turned phantom to ride out the storm. How much longer are we going to be stuck out here? I don't know. You think I'd be stuck out here with you if the Echelons told me anything? My girl's already upset I can't take her out weekend night. She's gonna dust off when she sees my face. Yeah? Let's hear more about the mystery girl who likes you for your face. Tap tap. She settled for my face, now it's worse. But at least it's not a weasel face. That's brazen. I was trying to mumble it under my breath, but I can't breathe right. No. Look. Pie? That's them? Okay. Steep hill. I, immediately got their voices confused as soon as they started talking back to back, but I don't think it's gonna matter much longer. Okay. Time to don the fierce face. Time to get inspired. Like you swallowed a bug, but angrier. Ready? There you go! And on the first try this time! If it's full of cargo, it'll have to crawl down that hill. Cut it off here. Okay. Is there, some urgent late-night need for pie in the woods? Ah, yes, the big questions. The puzzlements put forth by the universe. Can we know anything but the satisfaction of pondering without knowing? What? I'm asking, is there pie or is there something else? Exactly! And why is there something else? Or something instead of nothing? Is pie something? Is something nothing if not pie? A Sphinxian riddle for the ages. What's in the damn truck? Before I get any angrier, you're gonna want to climb out and show me what you're hauling. I've enjoyed this very thought-provoking exchange, but it's a bit soggy for outdoor philosophy. Hank. Reductionist, huh? Well, now, that's interesting. You're that kid from the car with the bandages. Shouldn't you be in bed? Who would deliver the pie? That another riddle? Someone without a cracked nut, I reckon. Fish! Make sure there's no one hiding in the cab or fixing to jump out of the bushes over there. Sure, sure. And you! You got the key? Hurry it up. Well, okay. Let's find out what's inside Pandora's pie truck. Let's see now. In the late 1920s, car manufacturers began including windshield wipers with most new models. Prior to that, wipers were more commonly sold as separate accessories. Electrically operated wipers were available, but most were operated manually with the lever from inside the car. Granted, consumer cars in the 1920s didn't move as fast as modern-day cars do, but one must appreciate the considerable skill it would have taken to drive a manual transmission vehicle in the rain with no power steering or anti-lock brakes, while operating the windshield wipers with a lever and defogging the interior with a jacket sleeve. I guess that means Rocky is really good at driving. You sure now? You dying to see what's inside? But is the curiosity just killing you? Well, it's bound to kill somebody. What is wrong with you? It's not me. It's just the wrong KC and maybe the wrong truck. Oh, listen, my somnambulist asleep in his cabinet. Hey, Wes, there's no footprints or nothing over here. Yeah, get over here. I think I know what's going on. Bam, 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 bam! And it's the screwiest damned... Oh. So much for that. There it is! Let fly, laddie. Aim true now. We can't have Miss Pepper crossing paths with this void of redeeming qualities. Fish! Fish! On the roof! Yep. Okay. Fish, do your job, you craven! Fish. Damn it. Psst. Hey! Now, don't you go sneaking up on my cousin. He's a bit tetchy. But, wait! I'll introduce you face to face. Looking around. Is that a branch snapping or his leg snapping? Oh, is he stealing the trunk? Slam wood. Thunk thunk thunk. Oh. What ho? Any news from the front? Ah! Great! Now let me introduce you to Fish. So we got the guns screaming, the more guns, and Rocky's laughter. If you're having trouble viewing this image, I sincerely apologize. I'm currently having some sporadic sight issues that are proving difficult to track down. If you see a broken image, you can view the comic here instead. Well, I guess in the years since this was updated, 4 years since this was updated, that's no longer a problem. Doesn't seem like it's been that long since I've done an episode, but probably. Okay. Freckle fell off the car. Their car flipped over. Freckle isn't under it, is he? Gkinch! Sorry, brother. Hell of a storm. There he is, the picture of triumph. Okay, what is it? What's the prognosis? Bruised, bumped, rattled, dented, gonna throw up? Come on, buck up, bucko! Let the laughs loose, you're a marvel! What? Ha! Look at that! See? Written in cloth, a gold star performance. Well, that'll have to do. We have a communique to deliver. Now, how to render you presentable so we can slip back unassuming like into the civilized society. Slop! Aces! Okay, same thing, trouble viewing the image. The comic can be viewed publicly on Patreon instead. Meanwhile, at Defiance General. Ah, Nightkeep! May we trouble you for the use of your television now? I'm open late as a service to the honest people of this town. This isn't a field office for every passing gangster. You must have us mistaken for some prior patrons. We're the good guys. Yeah? Who? Stitches and Mudbug? Fishy, sleazy, mean bean the keister. You're all the same to me. It is rather urgent, what with all manner of treachery raining down upon us. Vehicular mishap out on the road, you see. What duty bound to phone it in? Fine. Buy something first. And no skulking around on my porch after. Everyone's running a racket. Is that a peanut? Is that a single peanut? 10 peanuts for 1 cent. If it's 10 peanuts for what? Someone raised a bad scene. Some folks are just here to bring trouble on the world. Well, Weisenheimer, you got 1/10 of a penny to ingratiate yourself with? How much are those lovelies? They remind me of someone very dear to me. How many peanuts is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I count 17 peanuts. This required a fair bit of packaging and ad research. Surprisingly, from a graphic design angle, some wrappers for long-lived popular candies haven't actually changed all that much in the past approximately 90 years. Price sure has, though. Most single-serve packaged candies were 5 cents in the 1920s. Among them, Baby Ruth bars reigned supreme. I didn't know Baby Ruths were that old. Meanwhile, this lady. Oh, isn't that the lady who made sure Rocky's head closed? Could have phrased that better. I don't know how I could have phrased it better, but I'm sure I could have. Flash. Alright, love. I don't know why I gave him that accent. Well, reassuringly, your friends have managed to work a telephone. Better wrap up the guile bones, or whatever you call it. Abel Wackets. Up, Jenkins. Jim Rummy! In which you don't draw and discard more than one at a time. How can one draw anything but a handful of pulping mush from this waterlogged heap? Cheating at cards, hustling booze, preaching damnation, you sure are a contradiction. To you and your failure to understand anything, but of course with the outlook of a child, you confuse temperament with temperance with temperance union blatherings. The idea that sectoring fine-tuning of the law represents rectitude. There's your contradiction. That the ravening ambitions of industrial titans and the motives of a snooping spying government add up to moral reform. That resigned prostration to the pantomime is upright. Self-sufficiency, independence of mind, action weighed with sober heart, these are the true and agonizing virtues at play. But then you arrive. And it's not just that you endanger everything functionally, but spiritually as well. Our greatest sin is illuminated. Not contradiction, but the passing on of all of this like a cursed heirloom to another generation that doesn't understand anything. What a pep talk! Boola! Boola! Forgive all of the foreboding. The family business is hard won. Our rationalizations, even more so, we're protective of them. He's cranky, he'll have to reckon with himself again. We must appreciate history repeats, not just in great arcs of time, but in little maddening spirals, too. My tack on that, though, more Grandmom's calendar prose than tortured screed. It's at least partly why these dour farm folk keep me around. We're fine, and you'll be fine. But, case of a pinch, since you're already acquainted. One more foreboding for the road? No, just, keep your head and try to never use that again, ever. The gun, I mean, not the head. Keep using your head. Right, yep. Ready? Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, now's the part where you drive away. Yep. Here I go. I'm going. Start the engine first. Some notes about the content. The temperance movement had some very prominent religious underpinnings, perhaps most notably the WCTU, whatever that is. But national prohibition remained a sore topic among a diversity of religious groups, including Catholics, Jews, and German Lutherans, who tended more towards the wet side of the debate. This was not entirely about alcohol or concepts of vice, though. Ethnic and religious groups such as these, enduring varying amounts of hostile sentiment in America at the time, feared escalating establishment-born scrutiny and persecution predicated on broad policing of the 18th Amendment. Lutherans seemed further incensed by the muddling of gospel with political prohibition rhetoric and steadfastly resisted marching to the beat of Baptists, Methodists, and other largely dry Protestant groups. They didn't encourage unlawful rebellion, of course, but a number of ecclesiastics penned anti-prohibition diatribes more colorful and fiery than I could manage to represent here. Lackadaisy send-off. Okay. Ah, it's Victor. Doing something. Lackadaisy anodyne. Horse Stock's Old Time Special. Victor Vasco. Doesn't seem like he liked whatever that drink was, but he's trying to buck up. That it looks like blood is not lost on me. Swipe. Wonder who that lady is to him. He seems upset about losing the picture, though. Maybe it's his mom? He's limping. Making a phone call. Or I guess he was going to make a phone call. Oh. Victor's falling down the stairs. Ring, ring. Ring, ring. And he's coming back up the stairs. Elsa. Let's see. Laudanum is an old-time opium tincture. Because of epidemic levels of addiction in the 19th century, it had ended up a controlled substance by the 1920s. Evidently, Dr. Quackenbush keeps some on hand, though. A note about the photo slipping through the floor. In homes built in earlier periods, floorboards and joists would be the only thing dividing your living space and cellar, whereas modern houses are typically built with subfloors. Usually, even in older homes, the floorboards would joint together edgewise, shiplapping or tongue and groove, to minimize the formation of gaps. Some earlier styles of flooring simply involved floating boards flush against each other and nailing them down, though. After some wear and tear in foundation setting, one can end up with unwanted openings in the underworld. Okay. But now we're moving on. It's Mordecai. Squeak, squeak. Why all the fuss? Is this marigold business, or are you just clocking some overtime now? Well, you knew I was a jewel thief. Or as he said that. You knew I was a jewel thief. Yes. Well, it turns out when they catch you, they don't let you keep the jewels. There's no buried treasure, if that's what this is about. I have no interest in pilfered rocks. What then? Your boss gets my dues on time and in full, so my margins are slim. I got nothing for you. We'll see. Why here? Thematic irony? It's conveniently inert. And a pitiable mess, but no one will hear you. Also, the lagering caves are suitable for storage. With your leg injury, they'd be a veritable oubliette. That assumes a more prolonged process than would be expedient, however. If my colleagues reappear, they're liable to disrupt. They think I'm having fun. They wouldn't understand my need for, what, some kind of deranged illumination. Of late, I've been tasked with tying up an unusually large quantity of loose ends. As you've no doubt ascertained, you're one of them. But in your case, and the others, I don't know what put you on my list. So I've compiled some research, court records, property records. There are possible answers here, but I need more direct insight. It's perhaps unwise, unorthodox, unprofessional to pry, but I don't know if I know some things I thought I knew. Important things. You want me to help you finish your book report? About why you're supposed to murder me? To put your mind at ease. Yes. It might be stating the obvious to note that Prohibition put a lot of breweries out of business. There were upwards of 36 within the city of St. Louis, prior to the passing of the 18th Amendment. A few, like Anheuser-Busch, managed to survive producing non-alcoholic near beer or by bottling sodas. Some were bought and consolidated into other companies, and many simply ceased to be. I'm kind of surprised that that particular company's been around that long. I shouldn't be. Well, life does have its twists, doesn't it? Yes. Though I did bring the conventional assortment of instruments too, in case I need to underscore my seriousness. Get on with the paperwork. Good. Now, according to records, you made at least 2 court appearances for petty theft charges in the past, before graduating to a grand larceny charge and conviction in 1925. That's 5 to 15 years. Even with a sentence mitigated a generous 30% for behavior, you'd still be incarcerated. How does that figure? It's hard to do math with my Achilles heel coiling up the back of my leg, so I figure you can eat glass. Let's discuss property records then. You're the building owner and license holder for the billiard hall on McCree Avenue. The previous name on the deed is Gerhard Grombach, a relative of yours, no doubt. My uncle. Your deceased uncle. 1926. Did he die before or after your premature release? After. They knew he was buying booze from Marigold, paying kickbacks to Marigold for the gambling ring, but it was me they had on... Oh, it's him. They knew he was buying booze from Marigold, paying kickbacks to Marigold for the gambling ring, but it was me they had on the hook. If I wanted off, I had to swallow a different hook, go home, work for my uncle, make myself the go-between with Marigold, and then, of course, chat them up about it. Them? Yeah, you know them, the feds, revenue, and prohibition. I guess I looked useful to them. They sent in a lawyer for me and everything. A lawyer for you? Isn't that a conflict of interest? Well, he showed up awful timely-like, is what I mean. Guess they thought no one'd buy it, my scrap heap representation striking a deal like that. So you struck a deal, got out, and then what? My uncle, that spiteful old badger, was the only one who had a place for me when I was a stupid kid and out of trouble. He had a place for me this time too, but he wouldn't let go of the reins so that I could do what I needed to do. He took a bad fall. Wasn't meant to do anything but lay him up for a while at his age, though a broken bone, well, guess that's all it takes. What gets me, after all that, I've never given them anything. No information they didn't already have. Nothing they could do anything with, and they don't seem too bothered by that. Like they just want to hear me talk. What a waste. Only reason I gotta tell you is, well, maybe then it'll mean something more than nothing. It still doesn't mean anything I can discern. All this fuss over a low-level informant. Why would anyone go to such trouble to get a yegg like you out of prison? What could you give them but the name of a bookie or a single delivery truck to intercept? An ambitious prohibition agent might manage a high-profile raid that shuts a venue down for all of 10 minutes, but they're only a problem until they realize obliviousness pays better. From this side of the playing field, that calls for a bagman, not a culling of lucrative affiliates, not a risky string of hatchet jobs. I think I may have met your lawyer, by the way. Nobody's behavior is making any sense, I'll say. Exactly what is it you think I can give you? Clarity, some kind of clarity. A missing entry or integer that makes this add up. Pretty vague for someone who wants clarity. You've heard of Atlas May? The fat cat with the caves? Sure. His wife shot him. I've very little interest in defending her, but she didn't shoot anyone. Well, that's a scuttlebutt, as they say. She wasn't there. She wasn't even living with him at the time. A situation rife for rumors, I suppose, when things have visibly deteriorated. Why is that? She took up with you and said no. On second thought, not really the cake eater type, are you? But you seem to know an awful lot about it. I worked for him. Atlas. I worked closely with him. So, what about him then? You think... Oh. You suspect the next obvious answer, the other big game in town, is that it? Oh, I keep thinking it's him talking, but not seeing where the thing is going. You suspect the next obvious answer, the other big game in town, is that it? And you're wondering if you're cleaning up the evidence for it now? This is rich. Is that why you donned that marigold regalia, so you could spy on him? Boy, you should have kidnapped Freud instead. Marigold and Lackadaisy coexisted peacefully for years. There was no overt reason to suspect, but my boss, my new boss, has intimated that he knows what happened to Atlas, which should be impossible. It was a private affair, I thought. Well, I'm not in on that conspiracy, but I can help you. Let me go. I'll meet up with my agent contact. I'll tell him that I have information it was Marigold that murdered Atlas May. Give me a name, whatever you want, I'll tell him. Then I'll disappear like the dead. For technical convenience, I probably should have broken this into multiple pages. Artistically, though, I felt it worked better as one piece. Forgive me for the file size. The term cake eater here has caused some confusion. It seems to have multiple modern applications, but in the 1920s it specifically referred to fashion-savvy young men most interested in consorting with women, sort of the flapper's counterpart. This 1922 song, Cake Eating Man, lays it out in some detail. Up, I'm about to run out. No, this doesn't end that way. It'd leave me without a real answer and you with considerable leverage. Yeah, well, worth a shot. You're fool enough to pull a stunt like this after all. Looking to join the Loose Ends Club yourself over a dead man? Dun dun! They're here. You meet with someone, your contact? Tell me who, where do you meet? Still chasing that rabbit, huh? Where are you at, Pekin? Rattle, rattle. That won't help you. Answer me. I'll stall you in the lagering caves. That a threat or an incentive? That's how you live through tonight. Come on! We let you in our party. Okay, there go the door. I don't know, seems my chances are better as long as you need something from me. If you're still more of a liability than a resource to me once they're within eyeshot, your chances are nil. Guess I was too smart for my own. A name, please. The agent. Something Drago? You meet regularly? Where? I meant for this page to be longer, but Kickstarter month has been exhausting chaos. In a good way. The support has been amazing, and I'm looking forward to some return to normalcy. Okay, so it looks like that's the last page we got since the animation started. So I'm all caught up. I really am not sure what Rocky was doing, but it looks like he was continuing what they were doing before his head got split open with a thresher. Mordecai's looking for answers about what he's being had to do, and it sounds like there's conspiracy afoot about what happened to Atlas. And Mitzi might not have done anything at all, but just seems to be going along with it, so I guess whatever happened to Atlas, she probably knows what happened to him and is just going with it? I don't know. So, I don't know when there's going to be more of the plot, but there's still plenty of side comics I can come back to once I figure out where the heck I left off at. Let's see if I can find out while we're here. That's probably the wrong button. Archive gallery? So I know I looked at the illustrations and the early concept art, and I started the mini-comics. But there might be more of them now? I have to assume that I at least made it to Waffles. I don't know. I'll have to go back through and check. There's also all these previews and sketchbooks and stuff. So there's a whole lot of stuff in the we're in the Ishkabibble? No, we're in the gallery. There's a whole lot of stuff in the gallery that I can still look at later on. So, that about does it for this episode of Let's Read Lackadaisy. I don't know what number it is. If you like it, as a like and a subscribe will be groovy. If you didn't, you don't need to do either one of those things. If you want to click the bell, you can do that as well so that you're notified of future uploads. And I will see y'all in the next one, whenever and whatever that happens to be. Later.